As I stated in a previous review, this was one of my very first rated R movies that I watched. I can't say I still like it. I just can't. There's many things. I'll talk about one thing first so I can word it right, hopefully. But it has a lot of vulgar humor that is just there for the sake of vulgar humor. If you don't know what vulgar humor is, it's more like crude, saying fucking titties and dick, and then thinking it's the most hilarious shit ever. It's just cringy and not at all funny in this movie. There's like a 5 minute scene about Jonan Hill drawing dicks. That was not funny at all. Vulgar humor can be funny. It's not usually my thing, but at times I do find it funny, like in Bunny Man, where the one sexist dude gets mad at the girl for asking what he's gonna do to her. And he says, "What do you think we're gonna do? Make you pancakes? God damn it, I don't like pancakes." Now, he was being sexist, but ended up being kind of funny. Or in the show Barry, there's a lot of vulgar humor in that. They pull it off decently well, even though it's not exactly my type of humor. I can see why other people find it funny. In this movie, I just don't see it. I just don't. It's not funny. Jonan Hill controversies aside, he's not very good in this movie. I know that I say that a lot, but there are controversial actors that do terrible shit that are still really good actors. Jonan Hill is not one of them. I'm surprised he was even thought of to be Riddler in the new Batman movie. Which, yes, he was until he asked for like a huge fucking pile of cash. And like, we're not going to pay you for that. We don't know if this movie's going to be successful. It's one of our first movies. And then he got mad because he thought he needed paid more. But yeah, in this movie, he says the F slur like 4 times. 3 of them are a reused joke that wasn't funny the first time, where there's this kid named Fogel, and instead of calling him Fogel, he puts an A in there instead of an O. Man, peak humor. There's also a transphobic thing in here by Bill Hader's character, but it's not even really a joke, it's just straight up transphobia. Like, there can be transphobia disguised as a joke, but this one, it's just him being like, hey, we arrested someone that was a man lady that legally changed their name to fuck. Where's the joke? Maybe the absurdity of the name, but where's the joke in calling the person a man lady? And a decent portion of this movie is just Jonan Hill being a douchebag to his friends, yet still getting the girl in the end. And he wants to get her drunk enough to sleep with him. What a nice man. This movie's not very good. They also try and throw in some more serious shit like, you know, oh, it's hard to grow up, which I can kind of get that theme because I recently graduated high school like 6, maybe 7 months ago. 18 now. I'm gonna have to deal with the real world. But they do it terribly. Terribly. They're more worried about making another sex joke. And a lot of the jokes in this movie go for way too long. Jonan Hill talks about how tight his pants are and start talking about his dick and balls for like a solid 40 seconds, and it wasn't funny. I don't like this movie. I don't understand how it almost got a 90%. It's considered a really good movie by both the audience and Rotten Tomatoes. I don't get it. I really don't. It's not very entertaining either. I got bored. It took me 3 days to watch this movie. Not actually 3 days, but that's how long it took me to watch the movie. Cuz I stopped watching it for like a solid week before I started watching it again. I started watching it last week, got like 40 minutes in, started watching it last night. Probably watched about 20, 30 minutes, and then I finished it today with the last like 20 minutes. Because this is almost a 2 hour movie. They also have their very funny joke from beginning of the movie where Jonan Hill draws dicks as the end credits thing. where they just show a bunch of new drawings of dicks, like one where there's a dick underwater going up towards a lady, which is clearly a reference to Jaws. And then the very last one is just of the three friends, even though they just treated Fogel like shit, and they even say that Evan doesn't even like him. They're like, he doesn't even want to move in with Fogel. He just doesn't have any other friends. He doesn't even like Fogel. Like, man, both these characters are douchebags. But it's okay. He just didn't sleep with a girl while she was drunk. That makes him a good character. No, they're just both douchebags. Fogel is like the only likable character, and he's the one that's treated like shit. He's just a guy that wants to get laid because he's a high schooler that's horny. But the other two are kind of douchebags. They treat each other like shit, hide stuff from each other. Jonah Hill constantly acts like, women are just objects in this movie. Like I've already said, he said the F slur like 4 times. And he just teaches friends like shit. He's constantly rude to Fogel as if it's not, one of his friends. Evan's kind of rude to him at times, too. I don't get this movie. I don't get what I was going for at all. It's pretty boring, too. I finished it this morning. I guess there's something for everybody. It's just not a movie for me at all. I really don't get why people like this movie.